SportsMeds, your channel for riveting sporting analysis. Tune in as host Jordan Sterling delves into topical issues in the global sporting arena and engage in discussions that go beyond the base. Hi sports fans, welcome to SportsMeds. This is your host Jordan. So today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Liverpool ending their 30-year wait and lifting the English League title. Now, fans across the world of Liverpool Football Club, they are still in celebratory mode as Liverpool has lifted their first title in 30 years. That's their first English League title and the first in the Premier League era. And having endured, many seasons of what ifs and heartaches, Liverpool and their fans are basking in victory. And of course, during the last 30 years, it would have been a very difficult time for Liverpool and their fans. They would have witnessed bitter rivals, Manchester United, winning the Premier League on multiple occasions under the legendary Sir Alex Ferguson. Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester City would have had, their periods of dominance during that 30 years as well. And interestingly, smaller clubs like Blackburn Rovers, who are now in the Championship, and Leicester City would have gone on to experiencing Premier League glory. So during that time, Liverpool and their fans would have been, the target of opposing fans. They would have been subjected to a lot of what you call banter. However, it's important to note that during that period of time, Liverpool were still winning trophies. They would have won the Champions League, the UEFA Cup, which is now the Europa League, the FA Cup, and the League Cup. So it wasn't a case that Liverpool were not winning, but they just could not get their hands on the Premier League trophy. And I think there was an obsession and added pressure on managers who came through the door at Anfield. I remember Gerard Houllier, who was there, I think, for a while, but between 2000 and 2001, he had led the team to the UEFA Cup, the FA Cup, and the League Cup, but they still were not able to win the Premier League. I think the likes of Robbie Fowler would have been at the club at that time, Jamie Redknapp. Also, Rafa Benitez, the man who is a cult hero amongst Liverpool faithfuls, he would have led the club to the Champions League on that unforgettable night in Istanbul, and he would have also won the FA Cup. But his team came close to winning or were pipped by Sir Alex Ferguson's team. And Liverpool would have tried or acquired the services of the likes of Roy Hodgson, who also failed to deliver. And even Sir Kenny Dalglish, who would have been the last manager to bring the trophy to Anfield. He came back at one point in time, but also failed. And Brendan Rodgers, how can we forget him? Liverpool came agonizingly close under Rodgers' leadership. The team with the likes of Raheem Sterling, Steven Gerrard, Philippe Coutinho, and Daniel Sturridge came so close, but many of us would remember that, famous slip or infamous slip on the part of Steven Gerrard, which many would say cost Liverpool that title. So Liverpool fans would have been obsessed to seeing their team winning the Premier League title, but it remained elusive for a while. However, the wait is over. Reds fans, the charismatic German Jurgen Klopp, he has delivered the Premier League trophy, and he has delivered in style. Liverpool have won the league with 7 games to spare. They have been a model of consistency this season, destroying their opponents. And what I like about this Liverpool team is the fact that they have won games using different styles. They have been able to grind out results as well as blow away teams. So they can be considered a very versatile and efficient unit. Sportsmen, your channel for riveting sporting analysis. Coming into this season, I know several fans and pundits were eagerly anticipating how Liverpool would respond, having lost out to Manchester City by a solitary point last term. Klopp's men would have been left licking their wounds after amassing an impressive 97 points and losing once in the process. but yet they were still pipped by Pep Guardiola's juggernauts to the title. However, Liverpool would have gotten some well-needed confidence after defeating Tottenham Hotspurs to lift the Champions League title. And from the first game of the season, you could see the determination on the faces of the Liverpool players that they wanted to win the title. I remember Jurgen Klopp in an interview actually pointing out that at the beginning of the season, he said to the players that in order for them to defeat this Manchester City unit over the course of a season, they would have to be basically perfect. And we have seen that throughout this campaign where Liverpool, they have won on a canter. They have been, a model of consistency. And some persons might point to the fact that several of Liverpool's main rivals, or all of their main rivals, would have been below par. Some would have gone to point to even VAR and the coronavirus. But it's crystal clear that this Liverpool team will go down as one of the most efficient and ruthless in Premier League history. The ease at which they manage, to win the league, fans are already talking about the possibility of them repeating as champions. However, it's definitely going to be a mammoth task, and it will be interesting to see how Liverpool react from being the hunter to being the hunted, because now they are no longer going to be chasing, but they will definitely be favourites heading into next season. So it's going to be interesting to see if Liverpool can mount a successful title challenge. It's always difficult for those who are, followers of sports. They would know that in any sporting discipline, it's very difficult to repeat as champions. It's not impossible, but the fact that opponents would be taking a very meticulous look at your strategies or your tactics, they would be highlighting the weaknesses and the strengths of your team. It's always a challenge to repeat as champions. So it will be interesting to see how Klopp and his men go about defending their title come next season. Sportsman, your channel for sporting analysis. With next season in mind, I would like to take a few minutes to dissect the current Liverpool squad and assess their chances of repeating as champions. Now, I think that Liverpool would definitely need to strengthen. That is my opinion. Going into the next campaign, some persons might point to the fact that they have a settled core. These players would have great chemistry, and they have been playing at a very high level for a long period of time. However, it's going to be very difficult to maintain or even supersede those levels without making a few quality signings, in my opinion. Based on the high-octane brand of football that Jurgen Klopp plays, I think it's pertinent that Liverpool kind of freshen up things in their ranks. Now, I think a major weakness of this Liverpool team is their lack of creativity in midfield. I know the likes of Gini Wijnaldum, Jordan Henderson, and Fabinho, they are industrious midfielders. They work very hard. They cover a lot of ground across the pitch. However, they lack goals. They lack creativity. They lack the ability to unlock tight defenses. And we have seen in games where teams have set up to quote-unquote repel that Liverpool wave, where they have several players behind the ball and Liverpool would struggle to break them down because the midfielders at their disposal, they do not possess the guile or the intricacy in the final third to unlock stubborn defenses. Now, some Liverpool fans will point to the fact that they have the likes of Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita, but in my view, both have been inconsistent and very unreliable. Naby Keita, since his big money move from RB Leipzig, I think he has flattered to deceive. He has struggled with fitness issues, but I have not seen enough to be confident in this player that he is going to be a reliable one for Jurgen Klopp. Oxlade-Chamberlain, the same can be said about him as well. And if you look even closer to the Liverpool team, just to further strengthen my point, in the current Liverpool setup, Jordan Henderson would be leading in terms of his scoring. I think he has 4 Premier League goals to date this season, along with 5 assists. Gini Wijnaldum has recorded 3 Premier League goals. Naby Keita has recorded 1, Oxlade-Chamberlain 3, and Fabinho 2. So the goals are evenly spread among them, but you do not have any of them really scoring, say, 8 goals to 10 goals a season and creating 8 to 10 plus assists, and that is cause for concerns. If you look at great teams over the years in the Premier League, they would have at least one midfielder in their ranks who could create as well as score goals. And when I speak of this, Frank Lampard comes to mind. When he was at Chelsea, he was always a reliable midfielder to create as well as score goals. And even if you look at Manchester City in recent seasons, the likes of David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, they would have played a major role in the success of that club through the goals and the assists that they were able to contribute. So I think it is very important that Jurgen Klopp think about strengthening in the attacking midfield area. Now, players that I think Liverpool should consider, I definitely believe that they should think about bringing back Philippe Coutinho. He would have been a talismanic figure at the club for a couple of seasons, and then he moved to Barcelona under somewhat cloudy circumstances, and I'm sure that some Reds fans might be saying, why take back Coutinho? The fact that he turned his back on the club when they tried to have him remain there as a leading figure. But he's at a point in his career now where I'm sure that he must be having a lot of regrets, and several of the Anfield faithfuls know the quality that a Coutinho possesses, and I would love to see him back in the red of Liverpool. Kai Havertz is also another player who has the ability not only to play as a part of the midfield but can join in the front three. But I do not think that Liverpool would be considering him based on his price tag. I've heard Jurgen Klopp speaking about promoting players from within the academy, and we have seen Curtis Jones, who has done very well as a junior player for Liverpool, playing a few games thus far, and he looks very good. So some persons are actually pointing to the fact that Curtis Jones could be that answer to the lack of creativity in Liverpool's midfield. But I think this is Liverpool's major weakness, and Jurgen Klopp should definitely consider strengthening this area before the start of next season. Sportsman, your channel for riveting sporting analysis. So I know some Reds fans are not necessarily going to agree with me, but that's fine, that the team are in dire need of an attacking midfielder. And some would point to the fact that Liverpool actually rely on their 2 fullbacks and the front 3 for creativity. But for me, if the team are going to make the next step, it's very important that they acquire the services of a quality attacking midfielder. So Reds fans, do you think that Jurgen Klopp should give Philippe Coutinho another chance and have him return to Anfield? Please let me know what you're thinking. Now, I would like to look at Liverpool's front 3, and that's another area where I think they need strengthening. Not necessarily to replace one of the front 3, but a backup for them, a quality backup. In Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, and Roberto Firmino, Liverpool has one of the most feared and consistent attacks across Europe, and they need no introduction. However, these players would have played a lot of games under their belts over the last 3 seasons, and going into next season, I think Klopp should consider the fact that any one of them can be injured, suspended, or even suffering from a dip in form. Who are they going to turn to? Now, if you look on the Liverpool bench, they have the likes of Divock Origi, Takimo Minamino, and Xherdan Shaqiri. Origi, for me, has been very inconsistent and not good enough. He has chipped in here and there with important goals, but if you look at Liverpool when a Firmino, for example, is substituted and Origi comes onto the field of play, there's an obvious dip in the quality of the team. And I think it's time for Jurgen Klopp to consider moving Divock Origi on to another club. Additionally, Xherdan Shaqiri has been injured on a consistent basis for most of his time at Liverpool, so he cannot be relied upon. I know some persons might point to the fact that Oxlade-Chamberlain can play as a part of the front three, but I think his best position is through the middle. Takemo Minamino is going to need time to adapt to the demands of the Premier League, and so I believe Klopp should be on the market for a player, a quality player, to complement the front three. As I said earlier, Philippe Coutinho can be considered an option because he is definitely one who has the ability to play not only in midfield but a part of that front three. I am going to look at two players that not many Reds fans or some Reds fans might not be looking at as being, worthy of coming to the Anfield club. I think Julian Draxler, who has fallen from grace and is at PSG, would be a good addition for Liverpool. I mean, his stocks would have fallen over the years, but there's no doubt about his quality. The Jamaican international Leon Bailey, who I believe is a tremendously talented player, would definitely be a trump card in my view, having him as an option or a backup for the front three. So, Jurgen Klopp, I do believe that you should consider going on the market to find adequate cover for the front three if you are going to successfully defend the title next season. Sportsman, your channel for riveting sporting analysis. Since the arrival of Virgil van Dijk, it is fair to say that Liverpool's defense has been very consistent. The likes of Joel Matip and Joe Gomez have improved leaps and bounds, and there is no doubt that the Dutchman would have had a positive influence on their upturn in form. However, in Dejan Lovren, Liverpool has a defender who is inconsistent and erratic to say the least, and I think Jurgen Klopp should be on the market for an additional centre-back. Now, several reports have linked Liverpool to Koulibaly from Napoli, but I'm certain that there are many clubs across Europe who will be chasing his signature, and his price tag for me is ridiculous at this point in time, despite his quality, because he's approaching 30 years old, so I don't think it would be a wise decision for Jurgen Klopp to splash out all that money. And knowing Liverpool's policy, I don't think they will be going in for that player at that age. So they should be looking in the direction of a younger and a cheaper alternative, and I think they have been linked with this youngster, Ben White, who is on loan at Leeds United from Brighton, who it is reported is a very good ball-playing centre-back. So it will be interesting to see if Liverpool acquire his services. Now, it is also important to note that injuries can take place, and the fact is, over the years, Joel Matip has not played a lot due to injuries. And the question that I would also like to ask is, what if Virgil van Dijk gets injured? We have seen Aymeric Laporte being injured at Manchester City and the effect that it had on their team. Liverpool cannot afford to lose Van Dijk. And however, in sports, anything is possible. So Jurgen Klopp should be forward thinking and not be stuck in his ways and try to get an additional defender to strengthen their ranks going into next season. Sportsman, your channel for riveting sporting analysis. Another area that Jurgen Klopp should consider strengthening if Liverpool are going to successfully defend their title next season is the left back. Andrew Robertson has been one of the best and most consistent left backs in the world. However, Liverpool has no like-for-like replacement on their bench for him. And whenever he is absent, Klopp has turned to the services of James Milner, who is a midfielder by trade. And I believe that this has affected the fluidity of the team because Liverpool are heavily reliant on their fullbacks. Now, in the academy, there's a promising youngster by the name of Yasser Larouci, and it will be interesting to see if he will make the next step come next season. I know Jurgen Klopp has mentioned that he will be promoting several of his youngsters from the academy. So, Reds fans, do you think that Klopp need to go on the market to actually buy a left back to cover Andrew Robertson? Or do you think Yasser Larouci will be ready? However, it is very important to note that Liverpool would have gotten away with just utilizing the services of Robertson over the last 3 seasons. And whenever Milner came into the team, he has done a fairly decent job. But I think left back definitely needs strengthening, and it will be interesting to see if Klopp goes on the market or he utilizes LaRouche. There you have it, guys. Those are the areas that I think Liverpool should strengthen going into next season. I think Liverpool has a very good shot of retaining their title, but it's going to be very difficult. However, one of the hallmarks of great teams over the years would have been their ability to repeat as champions or experience multiple championships. And Jurgen Klopp would be mindful of this, and I am sure that he's not going to allow his players to rest on their laurels. He would have experienced back-to-back success with Borussia Dortmund in Germany, and I expect Liverpool to come ready next season. However, their rivals will also come with revenge on their minds. The likes of Manchester City, definitely Pep Guardiola will be on the market to strengthen his already very potent team. Manchester United, they have something good going on under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Chelsea are busy strengthening their team. I expect Arsenal and Tottenham to do likewise. So interesting times are definitely ahead. Reds fans, what do you think? How do you feel? Do you think that Liverpool can repeat as champions? I would love to hear from you. Please go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe. Sportsman, your channel for riveting sporting analysis.